What's up everybody, 40 the Broadway Saiyan here, and welcome back again to my YouTube channel, bringing you guys another video on Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. In today's video, we're going to be covering a returning character, which is Ciaran, because Ciaran's Lost Chapter is going to be coming out soon to Global Opera Omnia, and with that Lost Chapter's release, he is going to be getting a rework and the debut of his LD weapon. But before we talk more about Ciaran, if you guys are brand new to this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. That way you guys are not missing out on future uploads, and if you guys enjoy what you see on this channel, be sure to hit that like button and share this video, as it does help me out. Also, I want to give a big thanks and shout outs to Rem from the Dissidia DB, because all of the information found on this video comes directly from his website. Be sure to check that out in the video description as well as the pinned comments. Also to Macnull and the Dissidia Info, another fantastic resource for Opera Omnia you guys should check out. Also thanks to the OO tracker, allowing us a way to track our progress within the game, as well as to the FFOO tip, giving us a way to see when a specific event is going to be coming out within the game, as well as a big thanks to the Tonberry Troop for the amount of time and effort that they take to create those beautiful infographics summarizing what each of these characters do, as well as their fantastic website that we can also use as a resource for Opera Omnia. Thanks again to the FFTCC podcast, giving us a weekly podcast to fulfill our Opera Omnia needs. And last but not least, huge thanks and shout outs to all of the other DFFOO content creator streamers, as well as those of you that create those guides, spreadsheets, those visuals to be able to make our experience for Opera Omnia that more enjoyable. All right guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about Ciaran and what his rework and LD brings to the table. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and talk about Ciaran, because he's going to be getting his rework and his LD debut. Now, because he is an older character and he is a returning character, we're going to be doing, again, straight up gameplay, and I'm going to be talking over as I show you what exactly some of his upgrades do. So if you guys weren't familiar with Ciaran, he's right over here. He pretty much is a hybrid melee damage dealer and battery support character. So in a nutshell, he deals damage and he provides battery, and he also has some pretty good auras that he provides to the party, which is pretty nice. And then his whole gimmick function around his droplets of myrrh, which is that little icon that you see right there. Now, the reason why I have 3 stacks of this starting off is because I have his EX weapon fully realized, fully purpled, and he starts off with 3 stacks of droplets of myrrh. So droplets of myrrh, what this does is it increases all the party's initial brave, max brave, attack, and then as the stacks rise, you pretty much benefit more from those effects. So let's go ahead and actually start the battle off here. So then that way, when we actually get to Ciaran, I can talk about how, you know, he's improved with his rework and things like that. So I just purposely took a Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles team, just because why not, you know? Alright. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and take a look at what Ciaran gets. So first of all, his rework, one of the biggest things that I feel like really improved him is his unique effect, Droplets of Myrrh. Now, even if it's at 0 stacks, you still benefit from it. So at 0 stacks and above, your entire party is going to get that initial brave, max brave, and attack up. And then obviously as the stacks increase, and this increases up to 5 stacks, you're going to be getting, you know, better versions of those effects. And then when it's at 1 stack and above, he's also going to be providing the party members, you know, a defense up. So that's one big thing that I feel like he got with his rework, which is really, really cool with that Droplets of Myrrh. And then afterwards, his skill 1, which is called Bash. Bash also now recovers brave to the allies based on his own attack before he actually deals damage. So he's going to be battering the party before he deals damage. Now it deals 5 brave hits with an increased brave potency, and the brave potency increases by an extremely large amount, and it also now has a 150% brave overflow. And then another thing that he gets is while his Crystal Caravan Fan buff is active, his Brave Attack is going to change into Brave Attack Plus. Right now it's Plus Plus, and we'll get into that when I talk about his LD weapon. But pretty much this is going to have, you know, more Brave hits and more Brave potency, and also it's going to be allowing him to increase, you know, his droplets of myrrh by 1 stack. It's pretty much the same spiel with his HP attack, because he's also going to have access to, you know, to a better version of his HP attack, and also being able to increase his droplets of myrrh by 1 stack. Now his second skill, which is Holy Strike, is also going to be getting a pretty good upgrade. So first of all, the Brave recovery that it provides is now also extended to his allies, not just to himself, you know, based on his attack, and it also increases the Brave recovered based on attack by a small amount. So, you know, the battery effects of this ability is going to be extending to the party, and it's going to overall just be improved. And then now Holy Strike is going to be getting 2 Brave hits. You know, it's going to have its total Brave hits increase to 2. It's going to have that, you know, standard Brave damage potency increase. It's now going to have an overflow of 120%, and it's also going to be dealing 50% splash damage. Now, Holy Strike changes into Holy Raw Strike when 5 droplets of myrrh are active, and this time, if you use Holy Raw Strike, he's going to be dealing 6 Brave hits, having a much larger Brave potency, having 150%, you know, Brave overflow, and then also dealing this time 100% splash HP damage to the non-targeted enemies. So his rework definitely improved his skill 1 and skill 2. And then he also has a command called Soul Shot, which comes from his HP attack. So Soul Shot is also going to be getting an upgrade, more Brave hits, Brave hits increase to 3, more overflow, 20%, you know, HP splash damage, and he's also going to be increasing his own droplets of myrrh whenever he uses Soul Shot. And then he also has Soul Shot Plus, which is a better version of Soul Shot. So this one, it needs to be at 5 stacks of droplets of myrrh to have access to it, but Soul Shot Plus is going to have 4 Brave hits, more Brave damage, 150% Brave overflow, and 50% HP splash damage. But remember, Soul Shot Plus will deplete his droplets of myrrh. It's going to deplete all 5 stacks. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're using Soul Shot Plus. But now we're going to get to the good stuff, which is going to be his LD weapon. So his LD weapon is going to be equipping him with an ability called Shadow Blade, and if you have this fully realized, it's going to be giving him 3 uses of the skill. It's also going to be permanently increasing his attack. It's going to be giving him access this time to a Brave Attack Plus Plus and an HP Attack Plus Plus. Now these are pretty much, you know, the same spiel, just more Brave hits, more damage, and they can also increase the droplets of myrrh, you know, by 1 stack every time he uses them. And Shadow Blade is going to first battery the party based on attack, and then Kieran is going to be delivering a 3-hit AoE melee Brave Attack plus AoE HP attack, followed by a 5-hit AoE melee Brave Attack plus AoE HP attack, and then he's going to be increasing the damage dealt to a single target, which is pretty much a standard with all of these different abilities. He's going to be dealing some Brave overflow, he's going to be dealing split HP damage, and then he's going to be getting 4 turns of something called Memories of the World. And now if you have this weapon fully max limit broken, Memories of the World is going to be extended to 8 turns, and Memories of the World is the buff that you really want to keep an eye out for. So this is how his LD looks like. And I'm going to talk about why Memories of the World buff is very, very important to have active on Kieran. Okay, so he deals his damage, and look at that. He has 8 turns of Memories of World. Now, the reason why Memories of World is important is because not only does he provide an initial he raises the party's initial Brave, he also raises their Brave overflow, and he also allows them to have a Brave regen. But the most important thing that this buff gives him is that he no longer drops the stacks. He no longer drops the chalice like you do in Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. If you guys have played the game, you'll get that reference. But Kieran not dropping the stacks is fantastic, because the problem with Kieran when he first came out is that every time you use his Holy Raw Strike, which is the better version of his skill 2, or his Soul Shot Plus, he depletes all 5 stacks of his droplets of myrrh. And you want the stacks to be at 5, but at the same time you didn't want to drop them all, and it's like, okay, do I want to play this character to his full potential, or do I want to play this character and have to restart over and over and over again? So he was one of those characters that had issues with building stacks. So now that he has this LD, he no longer drops, he pretty much does not drop that chalice. He's going to keep all 5 stacks for 8 turns as long as he has that buff up. And when we get to his turn next, he will be having, you know, a free skill usage on his next turn, which is very, very good because it also allows him to have some longevity. So we're going to get to that once we do this portion of the battle here. Hopefully that AoE attack doesn't kill anybody. These are bosses that we haven't seen yet on Global, so... Okay, so nobody died. All right, there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and use Charlotta's skill 2, just for the heck of it. Okay. All right, so this is Kieran now. He gets a free skill usage, and as you could see, we have access to his Soul Shot Plus, which normally depletes all 5 stacks, but this time it doesn't because of that LD effect. And he also has access to his Holy Raw Strike, which is the better version of his skill 2. And remember, now you could freely, well, not freely spam, but you could pretty much alternate between this and his Soul Shot Plus because of the amount of damage they deal. And then you would pretty much just go into his skill 1 if you need to refresh any kind of buffs and things like that. So for the purposes of the video, let's go ahead and go right into his Holy Raw Strike. And as you can see, the battery is pretty significant on that, which is pretty nice. That's what I really like about it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and have Yuri here use his skill 1. All right, and now we're back to Kieran. And then remember, Kieran also has access to his C65 ability, and now the C65 ability, what it does is it pretty much sets the droplets of myrrh. So this is something that you could use in case, you know, by some reason, if you have the LD and the fight is long and you somehow drop all 5 stacks or things like that, you can actually set that, which does help him out. But pretty much these upgrades really improved him. Now, something I do want to mention is his call ability. So if you get Kieran to, you know, crystal passive at least level 75, and then afterwards level him up to level 80, he's going to be using Holy Strike as his call ability. Now, Holy Strike as a call ability is also going to be increasing max Brave and attack by a small amount, and then afterwards it's going to be following with a Brave recovery to the allies, and then he's going to be dealing that 6-hit Holy Melee Brave plus HP attack as a call, and then afterwards he'll be dealing that 100% HP splash damage as well. And then something that he also does with it, if you unlock the other crystal passives, is he's going to be increasing all the allies' attack by a minimal amount for 6 actions, and then afterwards, if you have the level 80 crystal passive for that call ability, he's going to be increasing the Brave recovery by his attack, you know, that he does before he actually deals damage, and then he's also going to add that 120% Brave overflow to his call ability. So that's just something to keep in mind. But pretty much Kieran is pretty straightforward. You're going to go into LD, and then afterwards you're going to be using his Holy Raw Strike because he gets a free skill usage, and then you're going to alternate between Soul Shot Plus and also his skill 1 if you need to refresh buffs, and then if his EX pops up, you go into his EX, so then that way he's going to be refreshing his buffs that he gets from his EX and being able just to push the offense and also allow himself to be able to also battery his allies while he's using his skills. So very straightforward character, very good. I'm glad that he finally got his LD because his biggest issue, which was dropping the stacks, is definitely going to be fixed now. Now, as far as the banner goes, this banner will also have Sephiroth's burst weapon. So for those of you that are huge fans of Sephiroth and you want that burst weapon, which actually has a really powerful burst effect, it's going to be present on this banner. And then the banner mates for this particular banner besides Sephiroth is going to be Kryle and Lael. Lael is still a pretty decent unit. He does have, you know, all the way up until his EX plus, and he's a, you know, fairly decent launch unit if you're looking for a character that can launch, that can also battery, and that can also delay. And then Kryle is a character who I personally feel like is a little bit on the dated side now. She's an okay support that can battery. She does have that really cool effect from her EX plus with that, you know, that crystal effect where, you know, every time a turn passes, you know, you get some Brave back, which is pretty cool. And, you know, but right now, you know, her damage output is not quite there. And, you know, she definitely is going to be needing her upgrade from her LD weapon, which she's going to be getting later in the future. So overall, the banner is an okay banner. If you're pulling for Kieran and you have the resources and you find value in a character that can deal some pretty good damage and also battery your party and no longer drops the stacks and also has some pretty decent auras with his effects from his, you know, droplets of myrrh, then maybe Kieran is a character for you. But remember, take a look at your resources, take a look at your roster. If Kieran can fit a role in your roster for a character that you could possibly be using for future content, then by all means, go ahead and pull. Use whatever resources that you feel like you want to use. Obviously, go with tickets first. I believe we're going to get a free multi from this banner, so you definitely want to go with that first. But this is going to go ahead and conclude my video for Kieran, covering his rework and covering his LD weapon. Now, one more thing I do want to mention before I actually conclude the video, sorry, is his high guard armor is actually not bad. It increases the party's attack by 5%, so it's one of those. So if you're looking for a high guard armor, user to be able to increase attack by 5%, then Kieran's might be one that you want to use your high guard armor tokens for. But remember, it'll require you to have Kieran on your party, so if you have some long future investments for this character, then you might as well go ahead and purchase that high guard armor. All right, guys, well, thank you again for watching. This is 40 the Broadway Saiyan signing out. Mahal, everyone.